You know, listener, it's funny you say that. The first time I realized that boxing and wrestling magazines were together was in the book The Contender that I was forced to read in middle school. You know, like sixth, seventh, eighth grade, whatever it was, probably seventh. And it tracks the story of a young kid from the ghetto trying to become a fighter, right? And the life choices he makes, the violence that surrounds him, the unfairness not only of life but of the boxing game. And I think it was a very valuable book because we were all spoiled kids, right? Like we were in Greenwich, Connecticut. Shane McMahon went to Central. I went to Brunswick, the private school. But no matter how you chop it, like we were all spoiled, right? Like we're living in the heart of wealth, or at least even those of us who didn't have a ton of money, we're still living around a ton of money. So that to me is about what martial arts are really about, and it's got to be boxing for inner city kids. Why? Because they understand violence. It's all around them in many aspects, from domestic abuse to gangs and stuff like that. So stuff like karate just doesn't quite do it, right? But boxing, MMA, that will do it. And that, by the way, I think we haven't seen enough of MMA in the inner cities yet, right? It became like a bourgeois sport, from the college wrestlers to all that coming down. But you're seeing kind of a resurgence with Jamal Hill and stuff like that, and you'll see that go back and forth. Boxing, on the other hand, went from a completely urban sport to more broad now, right? And certainly more international with all the players in it. But at the end of the day, in martial arts, and this is the point of my book, we're not fighting the opponent across from us. We are fighting our own internal demons and our own choices and what we decide to do with life. And so everybody that comes into a martial arts gym is not trying to become champion of the world. They are trying to fight those own personal demons we have inside. Now, I will tell you, interesting listener, so by the time I started buying all those boxing magazines, I'm going to say it's early 80s, like 82, 83 max. They had split and bifurcated the wrestling and the boxing, right? Like they were in different magazines by that point, but they were in the same rack, right? Like, but I remember in the Contender, Alfred, who was the main character, found a boxing magazine with his buddy, and they skipped the boxing. They went straight to the wrestling, invented names for themselves and all that. And I think that in of itself was part of the story, right? Like, whether you were a fighter in boxing, which is supposedly real, right? We all know how fake that can be. And wrestling, which is gimmick. And then what is life? I mean, life is part gimmick and it's part real, right? And if you don't practice your gimmick, you're never going to make the real. There it is. Everybody, read my book, Warrior of the Light.